How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to the Deadline with Dayvy live stream. First of all, just put in chat if the audio's fine, the video's fine. Just want to make sure that everything is up to scratch because last stream there was a couple of technical difficulties, unfortunately. So just let me know in the chat. Otherwise, welcome to this game week of 14 deadline stream. Morning, afternoon, evening, probably evening, afternoon, wherever you guys are around the world. The fixtures are coming thick and fast from now till that to Christmas period. So make sure that you guys are strapped in, seatbelt on, and I'll take you guys through each individual game week, hopefully a deadline stream before each of them. And as I said, if you guys want a reminder, you can just put my YouTube and Twitter notifications on because you don't even have to put in your calendar then. You can just get my tweets as notifications that the deadline is going to be an hour away every single deadline. Audio a little bit low. If you turn me to the maximum, is it still low? Don't worry, I'm not going to be blasting any music. So if it's a little bit low, I can turn it up my side. But if it's the maximum, then, and it's still too low. Okay, so let me just turn it up because everyone's saying audio is too low. Okay, just be prepared that I'm going to be increasing it now. So I don't want to like blast your guys' ears. So I'm going to put it up about 4 decibels. And then I'm just preparing you guys. I don't want to kind of break your guys' ears. Okay, I've put it up. Okay, is it a bit louder now? So lots of people, Movember, yes, today is going to be the last day of Movember. So you guys are going to be getting the last, most up-to-date mustache of Movember because tomorrow it's going to be done. Because apparently it's not looking great, looking a little bit weird. So I think I might have to shave it tonight after the stream. In terms of the questions, some people actually had some questions to start off the stream. Joshua said, would you transfer any of Raul Jimenez, Diaz or Armstrong out and for who? Don't have a lot in the bank. So Joshua, I'll get to your question now, buddy, because it's basically my own transfer that I'm probably going to make this week. Karen, I also saw your YouTube link thing. I think that's going to be natural because I think that if you don't have to sign in, you wouldn't be able to like a video anyway. But to answer your question about would you swap Huang for Raul Jimenez, I don't think I would do that move. I 100% would do it if Wolves had better fixtures, but I think this is going to be the last fixture you kind of want your Wolves assets for. So I wouldn't do that move, Karen. There are some other questions here about most people just saying hello. Some other questions about is James going to be fit for today's match? He won't be fit for today's match because they start, I think they play tomorrow. He did train though, but we'll get on to him a little bit later on. Also saw someone say, should they take James out for Alonso? I wouldn't do that. Please don't do that move. Unless you have to like take a punt for one game week, but James for the foreseeable future is probably the best defender to own at the current moment, or at least one of them. So I mean that's something to take into consideration. Thanks Barry. Also have some comments here. You look Mexican. Lolzy saying Leon. So hopefully that's a good kind of LOL. How's it Phil? Thanks for joining us. Marker, yes, the mustache. Hopefully you guys have also got it. As I've always said to the people that have said the mustache looks weird, I say I'm perfectly fine looking weird if it brings awareness to men's health. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. Gary saying, let's go, let's go. So it seems like most people have joined the chat. So I'll take you guys through my own team. As you guys know, Game Week 13, pretty good game week, 60 points overall. Currently sitting at just about that 130k mark. If you guys haven't been following the team selections, hopefully you have. In terms of the transfers though for Game Week 14, one free transfer, not much to the bank to be honest. And the move I'm thinking of doing is going to be Diaz out for Marcos Alonso. So in terms of James, he did train I think today and yesterday potentially. But even if he was going to be fully fit and there wasn't a kind of a knock or anything, there was an expectation that he probably would be rotated against Watford anyway. So even if he was going to be fit, he probably will be rotated. I don't really know how much truth there's to that. Unfortunately, with these fixtures coming in the midweek and the weekend, there could be some rotation there. Jamie Vardy, for example, getting a little bit of an older man right now, pushing on the age. So Brendan Rodgers said that he might not play every midweek and weekend. So if you guys do own Jamie Vardy, maybe just prepare yourself for some rotation potentially there. If, as you guys know, Iheanacho, a player like a Daka in the background, great kind of rotation there that they could potentially use. So in terms of James, I don't really mind because he's just been such a servant to our FPL team. The upcoming game weeks are going to be great. So I think that that's perfectly fine with him getting rotated. A little bit annoying it is against Watford, as I think there could be a clean sheet there. Lots of injuries on the Watford side of things. So the clean sheet might be locked in there, and maybe that's why I want to take advantage of this Marcos Alonso play. Versus Diaz, it's a little bit of a tough situation because Ruben Diaz will play against Aston Villa. I think it was Laporte that's currently suspended. I think that might be for yellow cards. I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like Laporte was suspended like a few game weeks ago, but I think that was for the red card. So Stones and Diaz will play the pairing. But I mean, it's Stevie G at the end of the day. Maybe they can score a goal against Diaz. Who knows? I just think that Alonso has the highest ceiling, especially for these upcoming game weeks, and that's why I want to kind of go for him. So it might be a little bit sideways, might be worth kind of just banking, assessing the situation. But I just think this is probably going to be the game week to do it because Alonso has quite a good fixture. Real Madrid saying, this time Rafinha captain. So I was just going to say to you guys, for me, the games today are absolutely terrible. I think it's Newcastle, Norwich. If you guys own Callum Wilson, a Gucci, maybe you're going to be looking at that. And then Leeds, Crystal Palace. I get Gallagher and Rafinha are high ownership players. But for me, these two games mean nothing. I just hope that they're quite low scoring. I would probably take 0-0s for both of them. But maybe I hope that you guys, if you own Gallagher or Rafinha, that you get some points. But it's all going to be about tomorrow and Thursday for me. The one thing I also wanted to say is, I don't know if you, I guess this is how you guys from India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, those sort of countries feel. These games now with daylight saving are at like 10:15. So they kick off quite late, to be honest. So some F's in chat for my sleep schedule for this upcoming festive period. Tristan saying Jota captain. I understand what you're kind of going for there because I guess you're going for a differential captain, but you're still getting some coverage because it's the same fixture. I just don't know if this is the fixture to kind of do it in. I understand that Jota, to be honest, he's looked a little bit better than Salah over these past couple of game weeks, but I just think that with that high ownership, if you're going to be going for the same fixture anyway, your thinking has got to be kind of Jota could return, Salah could return, so I wouldn't play the odds there unless you want to go super maverick, which I could understand, Tristan, if you kind of want to go for it. Archie saying, big up Norwich, we're staying up. So I actually do like the way Norwich play their football because they've never kind of been that park the bus sort of side. So they've always been entertaining to watch. Unfortunately, it's usually more entertaining to watch the teams they play against because they usually score a few. But I mean, I do hope that that if you are a supporter that you get the success and maybe some of the other park the bus teams go down. Anub saying, yes, it's 1 a.m. in India. I think it's even worse for you now, considering of the daylight saving. But I mean, it is what it is. Josh saying, strong stash, brother. Thank you. Ever considered Mbeumo to Gallagher? Mbeumo has been blanking. So let me talk about Mbeumo for a little bit. So as you guys can see, he's on my bench. I just think with Gallagher, currently, I might have missed the boat with him. Just because I think in this new formation that Crystal Palace are playing, it seems like Gallagher's playing a little bit further back than usual. We saw these returns coming from those forward positions, and I think this new position might hinder him slightly, and that's why I think I might have missed the cue on Gallagher. And with Mbeumo, like I've been saying, I know that he hasn't been returning. I mean, just look at these scores. Stupendous returns, 2 points all around, but these next three fixtures besides Spurs, okay, Leeds and Watford, I think I can give Mbeumo those two games just because he's so cheap. And there's no players in and around that bracket besides maybe a Gallagher that I really have my eye on. And that's why I think Mbeumo, with the stats he's putting up, I know that the biggest stat is probably the amount of times he's hit the woodwork, but I still think a goal might be coming. Hopefully not this game week if he's on my bench, because I'll be absolutely livid if that happens. Ty the Football Guy saying best strike under 7 million. Let's go check that out. That might be a little bit tough to... always with these price point questions, it's a little bit tough for me to say, like, listen, this is the player from memory. I think maybe one of the Watford attackers, Josh King. I still do like Tony. He's also quite nice. I mean, probably this week to get is probably going to be a St. Maximin or Gucci. I mean, Norwich, Burnley up next. Great fixtures, to be honest. He could actually be a nice little punt to go for, but if you want to go safety, I probably would lean towards going for maybe a Josh King. That's probably the player I would go for. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that one. Hopefully, I've helped you out slightly there on your dilemma. From which game week Salah and Mane will miss out? So as far as I know, last game week, it was 10 game weeks time. So I think it's around game week 23, I think. Basically, what you guys have to know is that in January, there's a 2-week window. I'll actually show you guys now, and that's actually probably a better thing. So let's just fast forward to Jan. You can see that there's from 1st of Jan to 14th of Jan. And I think this isn't an international break. As far as I know, this is I don't know what they're calling it. I think they're calling it a winter break. But it's almost like a holiday for the players. I don't think any internationals will happen here. And it's from game week 22 onwards that Salah and Mane miss out for. I think AFCON starts a week before this. And then I think they're going to miss about 3 game weeks time or so. So it's going to be an interesting time, to be honest, in FPL, seeing how maybe managers divert from a template. Maybe if they're going to spread that Salah money. I mean, he's going to be quite expensive to sell and gain back. Optimus Prime, you back. I thought that you deleted your account after not having Spurs players. Fraser 5.2 in the diamond for a balanced team. That could also be a nice little punt to go for, but I always like to maybe wait and see. But he is cheap enough to maybe go for a little bit of a punt. So if you want to lose Mbumo, I'd say go for it. But nice to see you back, Optimus Prime, because after your comment on my channel, I thought that you were gone. No worries, G-Ball. Let me head up your question. I have your team, but Townsend and Tony instead of Smith Rowe and Antonio. I would take Townsend out, potentially for Gallagher. That's probably what I would do. So, because I don't think the Everton fixtures are that great coming up. I would keep Tony definitely because he has 2 nice fixtures coming up. But I think Townsend, I'd get him out of there. I'd get him out of that team, G-Ball. And I think Gallagher's probably your safest shot to go for. Lots of questions about James here. Bam and Baby coming in with James playing. Do you think James will play? I think, to be honest, if there was no knock news, I would have said maybe like a 60-40 chance that he was going to be benched. So now with the knock, I honestly think that he could be rotated. I think that the thing about James is that Azpilicueta slots in there so easily at that right wing-back slot. It's not like a Alonso situation where there might not be that more of a natural left wing-back. With James, straight replacement there, and now added that knock into account, I think that Tuchel will probably bench him this week. I just hope that he doesn't come on, but I mean, if he's not going to start him, why would he bring him on against Watford, to be honest? Christian saying, Salah, Mane will miss 2 games. So it's Brentford and Palace, maybe 3 if they reach the AFCON final. So Christian, I was always optimistic, but now I'm pessimistic because I do think Senegal and Egypt have a great chance at this AFCON. And that's my 2 cents. So I think that there is a strong potential that they reach the latter stages of this competition. And that's why I think we got to assume maybe 3 game weeks, maybe even 4, because coming back from that tournament, they're going to have to manage their minutes as well, because I think AFCON is going to be pretty kind of condensed. Let's just put it that way. Baby saying, hopefully Benteke will return for me this week. I think if you guys brought him in last week, he returned for you. So if you brought him in this week, I mean, that could be a shout. Okay, no, so Benteke didn't score. I think it was the previous game week where he actually scored a couple of points. Yeah, 2 goals. I mean, if you had Benteke and played him in that, you must be absolutely dreaming. Gary Cooper saying, is it worth doing a -4 for Diaz, Mbumo, and Antonio out for Alonso, Jota, and St. Maxim? Gary, that -4 does look quite tasty. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like missing out on Antonio, though, because we just have to wait 2 more game weeks, and then we have better fixtures. So Brighton, I mean, he might get some returns out of there. It is a home fixture. Chelsea, I'm probably going to bench him next game week, to be honest. But then, after that, we have some great fixtures. So I would try and not lose Antonio. But I can understand that you probably need money for it. That's why you'd want to downgrade him. I would maybe just do Diaz to Alonso and then just keep... Because I guess, Gary, we have the same team almost. G-Ball, thoughts on Kane captaincy since we already have a double up on the Liverpool attack. So G-Ball, I'm probably never going to captain a Harry Kane this week. Maybe next week because Salah plays Wolves and they've been quite defensively strong. But I would just suggest going and looking at the Kane highlights. Yes, he did have the chance against Leeds, which he could have scored, but Spurs just don't look great overall. And I would only say go for Kane captain if you are really not happy with your rank and you want to get some returns, because Everton haven't been playing well right now. So I do think that Salah has a chance of getting some returns there, but I just don't know. That game is too hard for me to call Kane versus Brentford, because Brentford have been slightly better against the better opposition. Kind of contradicting myself because they shouldn't be a good opposition if they've been playing badly, but I just think that game is quite hard to call. Varun saying what to do with Vardy, boys. So all the boys out there, tell Varun what to do with Vardy. I would just keep him. I don't think there's any option that I'd particularly be looking at. I think you keep until you shift for Ronaldo if Ronaldo's actually going to be featuring. That's kind of another whole situation there with Ronaldo. With the new manager, is he going to press? Maybe not. Tyler Football Guy saying, luckily our SA players don't miss out on AFCON. So yes, with tears in my eyes, we're missing out on AFCON. Probably going to miss out on the World Cup as well. I potentially was going to go to Qatar if we qualified, but that's out the window now. So Ty, unfortunately, it's not looking too great for Bafana at the moment. What about Havertz? So that's an interesting question, and I actually thought about it today because I saw that Timo Werner had a knock as well. And I'm actually, of course, we brought Jota in, so that move was already well made, to be honest. Jota returned us our 14 points, but this week, I don't know, I just think that Havertz, if he does start, which there is a potential that he does, I think this could be a good game week to own him as a differential. I think you keep him this week. I think you guys have to if you do still own him. I just think that it's a lot better than maybe going for a Jota against Everton. I think that game's going to be quite cagey. Alonso captain. I guess with all those Watford injuries, it's actually a sensible shot, but I never like to captain a defender in the first place. So now bring into account the high ownership of Salah. Unless you're really not happy with your rank, that's the only suggestion I would kind of do. I know it's kind of boring right now in FPL, and I can understand you guys might be getting a little bit bored and wanting to shift the template, go for someone differential, but I just don't know if these next few game weeks are going to be when we should do it. Azpilicueta to Alonso, I think that Azpi will start, so I don't think you should do that move, Salman. It's a little bit too sideways this week. Vince, hey Dave, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, hopefully you are too, Vince. Would you prioritize Jota or Alonso in? I think you have to go with Jota if you're going to be deciding between those two. I think that's the transfer that I'd prioritize. But also, Klopp came out and said today that Firmino is going to be back in about a week's time. Yes, that's probably going to be about 2-3 game weeks time, to be honest. But I just think that Jota has to be the play that you prioritize at the current moment. Are you doing Diaz to Alonso? It'll cost me a -4 since I've done Townsend to Gallagher. Worth it. No, I wouldn't downgrade. I wouldn't do a -4 for Diaz to Alonso. I would only do it for a free transfer. Christian, will Foden start? I love it when you guys give me these hard questions. I wish I could tell you that Foden would start, as I might have actually brought him in this week if he was going to play. I don't know how I would have done it, maybe a -4, -8, but as far as I read from the news about Foden, it looks like he's going to miss out this week. Now, that could actually be good news for your owners because it might mean that he starts on the weekend against Watford, which is a great fixture. So it's a tough situation to do, but I would say if you guys don't have Jota, I would probably go for him, especially if it's a free transfer. Slamming saying, sorry, it's late to the stream. No worries, buddy. Anytime you join the stream, I'm always going to appreciate it. What have I missed apart from your epic mustache? I don't know if you can classify it as epic, but we currently have just talked about some talking points as usual. Just kind of talking about the potential players, potential options. So ask away if you a potential option that you want me to talk about. But the current transfer that I'm planning is going to be Diaz out for Marcos Alonso. Prabhash saying, love from Nepal. What are your moves today? So it's going to be that move probably. It's going to be Diaz to Alonso, or I'm going to bank the transfer. I don't know why I'm going to wait for it. I don't think we'll get any news about potentially things, but I think that's probably going to be the move I make. Raghav saying, prioritize Alonso in or Foden out. Have Jota. I would say Foden. I would say Alonso in. I would prioritize that, especially if you're going to be taking out a player that doesn't have great fixtures. I think that it's a perfectly good strategy. If you can bench Foden, I think I would probably bench him this week because of the potential of a sub appearance. I mean, there is a risk there that he does actually start the fixture, but I just think maybe that could be fine to kind of go for. And then just keep him for that Watford game coming up on the weekend, which could actually be a captaincy option, to be honest. Gareth saying, who would you swap Antonio for? Cheers, Booty. So I don't know if I'd take Antonio out now. I think in 2 game weeks' time, you can play him this week against Brighton, could get a return. Next week against Chelsea, tough one. But I think after that, you're probably going to want to keep him. And I don't think it's a kind of strike at the current moment that I really want to get. I think Callum Wilson is really enticing. I just think that maybe Antonio is worth a hold right now because we just don't know if actually Newcastle are going to turn up. So Raf and Reza there asking, what do you think about Antonio to Wilson from -4? I think if you want to take a punt, have some chances to burn, I think it's a good move to do if it was for free, a hit, spices it up a little bit. But I think over these next 2, if Callum Wilson's going to get returns, it's going to be against Norwich and Burnley at home. So make of that what you will. I never like to take hits, especially if your player is going to be like Antonio, but I can understand why you want to do it. Mohamed saying, Wilson saying maximum or Benteke for Tony, 2-week punt only. So Tony could actually be a punt for the next 3 weeks. So that could be a move that you guys do. But between Wilson and Saint Maximum and Benteke, I would go for Wilson. How's it, Zaid? Hopefully you're well, brother. Who to bring in, Smith Rowe or Gallagher? I think Gallagher, Sebastian, because of the better fixtures. Donald Duck saying which two to start, and then you haven't listed any players. So just post the question again in a minute, and I'll be sure to get it. Devin Little saying, yo Davey, nice, insert word stash. So that's what I was kind of worrying about. That's what this mustache might actually look like. But thank you for reminding me about it, Devin Little. Foden to Gundogan, considering Jota's already in my team. I like Foden to Gundogan. I think that move looks good. Especially because you're kind of getting one more game week out of it, because Foden might not start. Is Chalobah a good transfer in for Duffy? As long as you're going to accept the rotation there. Cancelo is on 4 yellow cards. Should I replace him instead of Diaz for Alonso? I don't think so. That's actually a good point, to be honest. I just think that the attacking threat of Cancelo far outweighs his potential suspension, because he was going to be getting a rest anyway. And it'll be good if it comes for a yellow card, because then it'll give him a clean slate. That is an interesting consideration to do, though. If you're a more conservative manager, maybe take out Cancelo. I just don't think you can, though. I think that Diaz has a far lower ceiling than Cancelo does. Chris, will James start? I think that he's probably going to be benched this week, buddy. Looks very fun, says Mario K. I don't know what looks fun, but... Oh, maybe my mustache looks fun. There we go. Martin saying Super Mario looks nice. What to do with Foden, mate? If you don't have Jota, I would take him out. But otherwise, if you can bench Foden, I potentially would probably do that. Otherwise, go for Gundogan or Bernardo Silva. Rafa Reza says 90%. James will not start. What do you think? I think it's about 70 to 80%. So let's say 75% that James won't play. Armstrong or Smith Rowe to start. I would start Armstrong over Smith Rowe. Path. I actually like Armstrong this week. I hope that he gets me some returns, to be honest. Foden or Mbumo? To play Mbumo. No, actually to play, I probably would just play Foden. I don't have much faith in Mbumo at all. Thanks, Devin. Who would you start between Ben White and Mbumo? Jared, I'd start Mbumo. No worries, Martin. Good luck to you too, brother. Nemanja saying, who would you start, Tony or Mbumo? I would start Tony. We've seen this kind of in the last couple of weeks, that he's on penalties, so that's kind of good. Baby saying, if James doesn't play, I'm finished. So hopefully he plays for your sake, but I wouldn't be holding thumbs on that one. Donald Duck saying, which two would you start? There we go. Smith Rowe, Emerson Royale, Mbumo. Sorry about the click too soon. No worries. Got a little bit antsy there. Got a little bit too excited, Donald Duck. Don't worry at all. I would start Emerson Royale, and I would start. You see, you could play this two ways. I was gonna say Emerson Royale and Mbumo, but then they're playing against each other. So you can play the odds there, or you can play Smith Rowe and Emerson Royale. I think I would start Emerson Royale definitely, and then I would start one of Mbumo and Smith Rowe. I think right now I'm playing Smith Rowe, so that's probably what I would do. But you can also play the odds there, and because you own both of them. So Mbumo on first sub, yeah. So Mbumo first sub is perfectly fine. AFCON saying Watford injuries. That is true. If you guys don't know, basically the entire Watford team is out injured. So Alonso could be quite an enticing captain to go for. Messi won his 7th. Cristiano Ronaldo's out of the debate, surely. I don't think I would base it on Ballon d'Ors. I think the Ballon d'Or is a little bit sketchy. I don't know if I trust it completely. Look, it was quite close between Messi and Lewandowski last night. I won't lie. I think either of them could have taken it, to be honest. But I just don't know if I'd base it on. But I think that Messi... Listen, it's a tough debate to go by. I don't want to get any fanboys angry in my chats and get me any dislikes here. I'm hoping for likes, not dislikes. Are you Mario, Luigi, and the memes? G-Red, I think I would be Luigi, because I don't need the attention. I don't need the spotlight. I'll take the substitute role. Regulon in for Livramento. I don't think I'd be bringing Spurs assets in defensively, Cole. But if you want to take a punt, I would probably go for it. Greenwood robbed of the Ballon d'Or, Ty. That could be true. But also, he can't get in the England squad, so they probably took that into consideration. Sebastian saying Sanchez or Ramsdale. This is a tough spot to be in. I probably would edge towards Ramsdale just because of the save threat. He looks quite a good option. So I'd probably go with Ramsdale over these two. Ori Lambo shave, bro. I'm doing it tomorrow. This was for Movember. Thanks, Zaid. I appreciate it. Rebuild FC saying Laporte suspended, out for Regulon. Yeah, that probably would be a move that I would potentially look at, especially because you're given an excuse now that there has been some suspension coming up or this game week for Laporte. But I would say if you can stretch that budget, I would maybe try get Alonso in. I think it might be a better move to go for. Ronaldo to Lukaku. I don't think I would do that. I would want Lukaku to be starting, and we see that he's fit. Deep saying, late to the stream, what's your plan? Diaz out for Alonso, looks like it's going to be doing it. Are you definitely going to make a transfer? I can't really say what's going to not make me do this transfer because we won't be getting any early team news on Alonso anyways. So I think you can basically lock in that move if you guys have to head off. Have to catch up on your dinner, maybe getting home or something like that. You can switch off because that's probably going to be the move, but I might wait a little bit more and check Twitter just for some later team news if we do get it. Donald Duck saying, thanks for the advice. Going to go Emerson and Smith Real. Hopefully no goals for Brentford. Hopefully for your sake too. I'm a legend. Alonso or Rafinha? For starting 11, Alonso, but in terms of playing, I would try to play both of them, to be honest. Martin saying Fernandez, a good option. I would wait until the United fixtures switch, which is going to be about 2 game weeks, 1 game week time, and then I might do that move. What I would probably hold off for is just seeing how the new manager sets up, because that's going to give us some good insight who's going to be the better options in United to go for. Pulisic as a potential Foden replacement with many of their attackers out could be a differential. That 100% could be, but I think I'd be very sketchy on those Chelsea strikers or forwards or even midfielders because there is probably going to be some rotation in there. Alexander saying, first watch The Boss, then dinner. That's what I'm doing tonight. I'm only going to be eating dinner after this. So let me know what's for dinner tonight. That'll actually be a nice little talking point to go over. Why Diaz instead of James for Alonso? So James is just such a good option for the upcoming game weeks. I would 100% not take James out. That's just my thinking. I'm a legend saying, very good point, but I'm favoring Gallagher over Rafinha purely because of the struggle Leeds are having. 100%, that could be, that at least you got some thinking behind that. I always love when you guys come in with some thinking. Is Walker 5.5 a good deal? I think I would prioritize Cancelo. If you want to get another Man City attacker or a defender, I would go for Walker. Best under 5 million defender. I think I would probably take a punt on the Spurs assets. I think they look quite good under that price tag. Because, there's not many options under that price tag that look that great, unless you want to go kind of budget with maybe a Crystal Palace defender at 4.5. There are some other options like a Ben White from Arsenal. They look quite strong, especially if you don't own a Ramsdale. They could also be quite good. Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? I like him and Gundogan as my 2 kind of Foden replacements if you guys want to take them out. Those would be the 2 assets I look at from a midfielder point of view. Shall I transfer out Jimenez for Callum Wilson? I got confused there with the kind of accent. So, Raul Jimenez, they face Burnley, I think. And it's at home. To me, that's kind of like a sideways move. I don't know. It's a little bit tough. Christian saying he's having a Norwegian dinner tonight. Nice and probably pays due to your home country there, Christian. Why Diaz out? I just think his ceiling's quite low, and to be honest, I'm getting a little bit annoyed with how he's been getting rotated. So that's my kind of perfect answer on Diaz. What are your thoughts on Rafinha to Jota? So I like the Leeds assets for the next 2 game weeks. They play Crystal Palace and then they face Brentford. I think after that the fixtures get quite tough, but I think that's a sensible move to do considering how Leeds have been looking. And I think that Rafinha's almost an essential player to get in if you're going to be taking in a midfielder. So I think that move looks quite good. Fazio saying Cornet is surely a steal, has been playing lights out. 100%, and he also is playing out of position. I don't really know how the Burnley fixtures look. Let's kind of go look at those Burnley fixtures. Okay, so yeah, their fixtures don't look terrible. I think if you're going to be going for maybe a midfielder at that price point, he could be the punt to go for. I just don't know if I think you have to be losing a midfielder that doesn't have great fixtures because that could be quite tough. Alexander saying, Will from Fantasy Football Hub did the transfer and mentioned you. Oh, that's nice. Now I have to do the transfer. Like, because I mean, if Will's mentioned me, then I have to do it. Okay, yeah, so he has done the move. I don't think Will's watching, but appreciate the shout out if he is. Is that bench order confirmed in Bumo first? 100%. I don't favor the Arsenal defense against United. I think United will score. And Douglas Luiz is not going to be in my starting 11 or hopefully at all. So he's definitely on my bench. So I don't mind benching in Bumo because I kind of think that James will be rotated. So that's my current thinking on it. But I mean, it could go either way, to be honest. Abdul, are you planning to do any transfers? Yes, Diaz out for Alonso. I'm going to check Twitter kind of a little bit early on, but if you guys have to head out, perfectly understandable. I would do the move because I'm pretty much going to do it. I don't really know what news I can get 10 minutes before the deadline that will not make me do that move. Thomas saying, Rafinha out, Gundogan in. I think if Gundogan was nailed to start, then I would say 100%, but there always is that risk about these Man City assets. Pep roulette, as we like to call it. But with the way that Leeds have been playing, it's just that I do favor Leeds over these next two. But I mean, Man City assets are quite strong, so I think I would do it, especially if you want to do a transfer this week. Trent Livramento says, Helmy, no, I would not do that. You see, when you guys ask me this, I have to say no, because if I joke, maybe people take me seriously. We do have a super chat, a £2 super chat from RSD TV, saying in Boomer to Gundogan or Vardy to Kane for safe minutes. If you want safe minutes, Vardy to Kane, but you might not be saying that about the first portion. So in Boomer to Gundogan, I do like, but I would be really tempted by Vardy to Kane because I don't think Vardy starts this week. And Kane has two nice fixtures coming up, and then you can always take him out to some other places. So I would do the Vardy to Kane move slightly more, but it's kind of like a 60 to 50 there. Or maybe let's say 60 to 40, so you guys don't think my math's bad. Nice work, Dayvy. Have you raised much money for charity? So Steve, unfortunately, I haven't raised any money. I was actually thinking about it. I think I should have done kind of like every point I accumulated over November, I should have raised. But right now, it's kind of just on the awareness kind of portion. I think I would have, if I was a little bit bigger on YouTube, then I would have really liked to have done like a stream or something like that. But unfortunately, I don't get too much money from YouTube or the super chats. Saying that, Brenton's given me 10 Rand. Yeah, thanks for the donation. You probably missed out on the message, so just write it, Brenton. I'll get to your question, hopefully in chat. Bench Livramento. I think it's perfectly fine to bench Livramento this week. Leicester have been looking quite strong, not defensively, but from an attacking point of view. So I think that looks like a fine move to do. Is Azpilicueta to Alonso a good move or just bank? Ned, I would just bank it. I think that Azpi starts this week. Is Havertz starting? I think that there's a good chance that he does, but I wouldn't be too kind of keen on it. If you kept Havertz, I would play him though. I don't think I would be taking him out this week. Foden to Gundogan plus Lowton to Reguilon for -4. Need the squad depth. Okay, Dalboy, if you've assessed your squad, need the squad depth. That's 100%. Steve, as you're saying, they're great bringing awareness, especially when you're looking this ridiculous. People usually are like, hey, why does that guy have a mustache that bad? And then they think of it. But thanks Steve, for the reminder about the awareness. Captain Salah or Kane, Rajat, I'll give you the simple answer, which is actually quite complex. Salah, if you are happy with your rank, or if you're marginally happy with your rank, I would only be captaining Kane if you guys are pushing the rank limits there. You're kind of in the millions or something like that, then maybe. But I just think that this fixture has a potential for Salah return next week, 100%. Maybe look at a Kane captain because the Wolves fixture looks quite tough, and also Kane has Norwich. But I think this week, I just want to assess how Spurs are currently playing, because when I watched them against Leeds, they did not look good at all. Junaid saying Havertz to Jota. If you want to be safe, I would do it, but if you still own Jota, I'd be tempted to keep him. Cheers, Ty. Hopefully you have a good evening, brother. Hopefully you stay safe. Good luck, and hopefully green arrows this week. Hopefully you get a green arrow as well. Thanks for dropping by. Foden out for Gundogan for a hit, says Joe. That's a tough one, Joe, to be honest, because I think Foden plays on the weekend against Watford, and you probably want him there. If you can bench him, I would try and do that. But if you don't have any bench, then maybe. I think that's fine to take a hit. But what I'm saying there is, if you have an Mbeumo on the bench, I would just play him, because he could also get an attacking return, and then it will maybe nullify the -4. But a hit for a Man City attacker to another attacker when the player will be back in 1 game week's time, I don't think it's worth the hit. It says Toby. So Toby's got the exact same question. Foden to Gundogan, B Silva, or Maddison for a hit. Unless you don't have a bench, I wouldn't take a hit because I think Foden comes back next week. Or next game week, which next game week is going to be this weekend. Okay, Brenton with the question, do I bring Jota in for Bernardo, Gallagher, or Rafinha, or do I roll the transfer? Okay, Bernardo, Gallagher, or Rafinha. If it's a free transfer, I would say Rafinha. That would be the player that I would take out. No worries, Joe. Thanks for the question. Do we sell Vardy? Let me look at the Leicester fixtures because that'll give me some more insight. I don't own kind of a Leicester attacker. So, I mean, so let's kind of say he gets benched again on Wednesday. He'll play Villa. He'll play he'll play Newcastle. Probably will be benched for Tottenham or Everton, but I mean, that's fine. I don't know. I think I might just keep Vardy. You said gets tough because he's either going to play Southampton, Newcastle, or he'll play Aston Villa, Newcastle. That's my prediction. So I think I would probably just keep him because there's no other form striker to kind of go for. I mean, it's a really saturated market at the current moment. Armstrong in for Joshua King. Kevin, I wouldn't do that. I'll just keep Josh King, to be honest. Best replacement for Raul Jimenez, I would keep him this week. That's what I would do. Harry Pratt saying, do I bring in Jota for Rafinha or roll the transfer? Harry, it's quite a tough situation because I don't think the next two are great for Liverpool's point of view, but I just think that Jota is in such good form that you have to almost bring him in if you guys don't have him. And that's why I think that for Rafinha, I would do it. It's just tough because I do like Leeds over the next two. Dream Rider saying Antonio to St. Maximum or Tony. I would just probably keep Antonio. If you want to take a punt, it has to be for St. Maximum though. Igor saying Trent and St. Maximum in. Livramento and Vardy out for -4. I need Trent. Okay, if you need Trent, then that's fine to do. I can understand that move. And you're also getting Gucci, and I mean, the next two, those fixtures look quite tasty. Akshay saying, Dayvy, who should I get in for Townsend, Bernardo or Gundogan? Really confusing. I think I'd be tempted by Gundogan more than Bernardo Silva. This might be just because he scored 12 points last game week or so. But I think that, I don't know. I just think I would probably favor him rather. He's got more of a higher ceiling, and I think at the current position, he might get more game time. Is Jota a must-have for this week? So, George, I don't think he's a must-have for a hit. I think he's a must-have if it's a free transfer. It's a little bit weird me saying that, but it's just you nullifying the risk then if it's for free because he doesn't have to get a return. What I would say is if you're taking a player out that has bad fixtures, I think Jota's worth the hit because in the upcoming game weeks, I think he'll pay off that hit quite nicely. But I wouldn't be taking him out for a hit for a player that has a great fixture this week. That's what we kind of were talking about with Havertz. It's like a tough situation to be in. Davey, why don't you captain Kane? He might hat-trick. So Salah might also get a hat-trick though. I don't have any faith in Harry Kane at the current moment to captain him, and that's just my thinking. Thoughts on Lucas Moura? If you want to take a punt at that price point, maybe, but I do think there might be some rotation from Conte because he's not really favouring that current lineup. So there might be some switches there. Might be a Bergwijn, maybe he'll come in. We never kind of know. There might be some variation in that front three. Naveen saying kudos from India. Thank you for joining. 2 to bench. Smith Rowe, Livramento, Huang. I would bench Livramento and I would bench Mbumo. I'd probably play Smith Rowe and Huang. Would you play Tony or Cody for the clean sheet? Would you play Milton? I would play Tony, to be honest. Also thinking about Raul Jimenez to Jesus. Like the transfer, Wolves is bad. So I like the transfer next week. So give Raul Jimenez another week and then do it afterwards. Tanashi saying, hi Davey, Mbumo to Gallagher or Livramento to Reguilon. I would do Mbumo to Gallagher rather than your second move. Salam, is this your final lineup? No, I'm probably going to do Diaz to Alonso. I'm just going to wait like 5 more minutes and then check Twitter if we do get any more injury news because as you guys know, there has been some press conferences that aren't going to be happening. They're only going to be happening tomorrow. And that might be a little bit tough. Luke saying Wilson captain. So Luke, if you're going to be going for it, I can only sit here and applaud you because that is quite a differential captain to go for. And I would just kind of hope that it pays off for you. Hi, Dayvy. Who to bench? Tony or Broya? I'd bench Broya. Dayvy, is Diaz to Alonso worth the -4? So Hill, I don't think I would do it for a -4. I think I would just stay put for another week. Diaz is guaranteed to play this week because of the suspension to Laporte, and Man City could always get a clean sheet. So Naveen's asking the same question. Fazlo saying, I have a feeling City clean sheet and Diaz to score a header. I won't lie, Fazlo. I had the exact same feeling, but I had it last week and also have it this week. I don't know why. I just think that one of these game weeks, I'm going to come to regret taking Diaz out. But I mean, I have to do it I have to do it if I think that he might be out. No worries, Tanashi. Thanks for dropping by. Tyrant Swat saying, how's it, Davey? Terrible game week 13. Need a little bit chance this game week. Captain Kane of Salah as a punt. So, Tyrant, I think that's a big misconception. If you've had like a bad game week, you don't have to come out the gates all guns blazing. You can just take it secure, because what will happen is then if Salah outperforms Kane, you have yet another bad game week. And then it kind of just snowballs on, if you know what I'm saying. So, I don't think you have to go out of your way to go differential this week. I think just try and make those points up from now on. Uber saying, I can see it now, Diaz for Alonso, and then Diaz starts and gets a clean sheet. Well, I think that would be poetic justice, because Diaz has done absolutely nothing for me, and when he did do something, he was on my bench against United. So it's probably going to happen. Shane O'Neill saying, what do you think, buddy? Foden / Saka out, Jota and Maddison in. So it's going to be Foden and Saka out, Jota and Maddison. I don't know about the Maddison move. I'm not too favored on that move, but I do like the Jota move. I just don't know. I think if you want to take a punch, Shane, 100%, but he's a little bit injury prone at the current moment, so I don't know if he's going to be playing the most minutes over the festive period. Raul Jimenez for Wilson, I think you have to keep this week. You can also do it if you want to be Maverick, but I just think, just do it. Nemanja, there's talk about history of Klopp resting Salah in December. Do you think Jota may be a safer captaincy option? There has been this talk, Nemanja, I won't lie. I saw an article today saying that because the Merseyside derby is so physical, Klopp sometimes has rotated. And if memory serves me right, as a Liverpool fan, I can think back to Origi playing against Everton. There has been some rotation there. So I understand what you're saying there, but I don't know. Patrick also saying my Cape Town plans are ruined, Davey. Patrick, are you from the UK going to Cape Town? Because then I feel really sorry for you. But if you're from like Gauteng and going to Cape Town, then you can still do it. How much in the bank after Alonso Phoenix? It will be 0.9 in the bank. And I can confirm that because I looked at my transfer plan for the upcoming game weeks like 30 minutes before the stream. So I have put some thought into it. Nas Gaming saying, what goalkeeper would you sub in if you could for this game week? If it's only for this game week, let me just think here. I think Mendy. I think Mendy could be a great option to go for. But if you're saying kind of who to go for out of these options, I would say maybe stick with Sanchez. Nishal saying any variation to checking FPL statistics. So yes, you can. You can use the website that I use, which is going to be Fantasy Football Fix. I'll show you guys here. So Fantasy Football Fix has its own price rise predictor. So you guys can see here, this is how they kind of set up. So this is what I do. I go over to Fantasy Football Fix, and then I go on change time, and then I just click like to filter by change time. You guys can also go progress if you want to get the price rises and then the price drops. Basically over 100% means they're going to price rise, but it also gives you the change time here. So if they predicted a change tonight, it will give you some insight. So Vardy, Maddison actually going up, Gallagher, Lonzo going up, Reguilon, Gundogan looks like he might, Pukki, Jota, Wilson, Bamiyang going down. There are some Varane. Antonio's going down, unfortunately, for our own team, but you guys can use Fantasy Football Fix. Apparently, FPL statistics has been down, I think. Alonso for Diaz, Patrick. That's pretty much the move that I'm going to do. So 2 minutes time, I'll go check Twitter for you guys. Andy's saying, do I need to call you? Oh, like Andy, I wish you didn't say that because it grabbed my attention, but not for the right reasons. No, you don't have to call me legend to get some help. But I'll answer your question anyway. 2 free transfers, Foden and White / Davies out for Gallagher and either Cancelo or Alonso. I have Reece James for you to bring in. I think I'll probably prioritize Cancelo over Alonso. Yeah, that's probably what I would prioritize. So you want to take Foden out. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take Foden out, then I would probably favor Cancelo, but I think I would want to get both of them in. She's saying, nice mustache, thanks, Ashish, I appreciate it. Why Diaz out for Alonso? I think the ceiling for Alonso is a lot higher than Diaz, and I want to get Diaz up my team because he's been annoying me. That's basically the reason. Boss, we have to do the color match and transfer. So I think it's pretty much color matched as far as I know, because if I bring Alonso in, we'll have like blue on this side, red on this side, kind of. Like, it's not the best color match, but it is what it is. So Smith Rowe or Tony, whom to bench? I would bench Smith Rowe. Bernardo over Jota, thoughts? I would favor the Jota move if you don't have him. That's who I would prioritize. Would you bench Antonio or Hwang? Thanks. I think I would bench Hwang. If there's an interesting consideration, though, if you do own Sanchez, you could maybe do that. No worries, Andy. You don't have to call me legend. Don't worry. Let me go check Twitter for you guys. Russ Smith saying it's going to be horrible game week with many players on the bench. It could actually be, but this is going to give us a taste of that festive period. Let me just see. Oh, good. I just saw some tweets that were a little bit mean. Okay. I don't see anything. Yeah. No kind of specific. But we weren't going to get any news anyway. I just wanted to make sure so that I don't give you guys false information. Okay, so we will be doing Diaz out for Alonso. You guys don't have to agree with me. I can actually understand if you guys don't. I'm taking out a player that's nailed for the festive period for Alonso, who is a little bit volatile. But I love that volatility, so I'm going to be going for him. Just from a defensive point of view. And an attacking wise, he's just the beast. So I'm going to be bringing Alonso. We're going to be taking Diaz out. We're going to be bringing Alonso in. Not playing the Friet. Don't play the Friet like I nearly did last week. And we're going to be confirming the transfer. So, yo, did you guys see that? Like, it didn't load. Like, I had to refresh the page. Maybe confirm your guys' transfers, because maybe fantasy's being a little bit hiccups. What's with me confirming transfers this week? They're all over the place. So this will be the team. I'm tempted to play Mbeumo over Smith Rowe, but I just don't know. I just think that his form doesn't say that I have to. Start Livramento or Tony. Jason, I would start Tony. Sell Vardy, Isaac. I'd only sell him if you have a plan for some other option. Like if you want to go for Harry Kane 100%, but around that price bracket, there's not too many moves to kind of go for. Start White or Emil. I'd start Emil Smith-Rowe. Jota in for Rafinha or Son for Rafinha. Mount to Jota or Sissoko plus Vardy to Jota plus Benteke. Is Mount going to start this week? Yo, Martin, is Mount going to start? What I would do is I would look and see it. I would go on Google and search Chelsea predicted lineup, and then if lots of journalists are predicting that Mount starts, then I would do the other move, because I think Mount could do quite well. Livramento versus Leicester or Williams versus Newcastle away. I think you have to go with a better defense. They go with Livramento twisted. Will Collinson with the super chat saying, have done 2 free chances. Diaz to Alonso for -4 or hold. I don't think it's worth the hit. I would hold this week. I'm just doing it because it's a free transfer. What we will do, guys, for the last 5 minutes, I'll do quick fire rounds. So get your questions in and I'll blaze through them quite quickly. Gosh, I have to listen to me drink there. Hopefully the mic's not too sensitive, because there was a setting where the mic was super sensitive and literally every sound I make you can hear. But it might actually be like that, which might be a little bit bad for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to start underneath from Will Collinson's super chat. So thank you again for the super chat. Wilson in for Antonio. I think I would probably just keep Antonio for the long term. If you're bringing in, Smith Rowe or Tony, who to bench? I would bench Smith Rowe. Start Gallagher or Hwang. I'd bench Hwang, Jason. Rice and Raul Jimenez out for Jota and Dennis, or Smith Rowe and Jimenez out for Jota and King. I think I would go for Jota and King out of those two. Start Broya or Tony. I'd start Tony. Also Mbeumo or Livramento in bench order. Mbeumo first place on your bench. Cone Van Thielen saying Son to Jota or Diaz to Alonso, or roll in next week and do. You have a plan to get Jota in, so I would do that move next week. I would just bank. White or Mbeumo, go for Mbeumo. Bench Foden or Livramento. I'd bench Livramento and risk it. I just hope that Foden basically starts. Would you play Hwang instead of Emil Smith Rowe? Yes, I would. White or Livramento? I'll go for Livramento. Havertz to Jota. I'd probably keep this week, to be honest. Sorry about that one, guys. Vardy and Sissoko out for Jota and Wilson for a -4. I actually like that move. That looks quite good for a -4. Zaid saying, Dayvy, 0 point off the transfer. What should I do? I would probably just bank it then, Zaid. I would just keep what you have. Gorilla saying, opinions on Holbier. I don't think that from an FPL perspective you should be going for him. At that price point, if there's no one else, then maybe do it. But I never kind of like those players in FPL. I know that he has been actually getting some points though. I also say I don't have Jota. I have Saka and Foden, and I could transfer one to Jota. Which one? I think you take Saka to Foden, to be honest, because you want Foden. Let's take Saka to Jota and leave Foden. Semedo to Alonso. Semedo's playing Burnley this week. I'd probably just keep Semedo. There is a chance that he keeps a clean sheet. Rudiger for Alonso, two sideways for me. I would just keep Rudiger. Will Saka play? I think that he will potentially. Unfortunately, we won't get a press conference, so we might not. Broya will start ahead of Armstrong. Armstrong 1 point loading. I think that Armstrong actually looked quite good against Liverpool, so I think he will keep his place. But there is always a potential if they change formation. Play Ramsdale or Sanchez. I think you play Ramsdale if you have Antonio, because Ramsdale has a high chance of a clean sheet. Not a clean sheet, save points. Madison review, I like him maybe as a short-term punt, but over this festive period, I can't see him starting too much. Carl Stark saying, joining late, good luck, Dayvy. Carl, the transfer was Diaz to Alonso if you missed it, but no worries, you can join anytime as long as you're present. Smith Rowe or Livramento, first sub. I would go Smith Rowe. White over Mbeumo, priority in your bench? No, I would go for Mbeumo. Vardy out for Tony, I don't think I'd do that. Lukaku for Kane, thoughts? Either way, I wouldn't do that move. If it's Kane to Lukaku, Lukaku to Kane, I don't think so. Armstrong or Tony, go for Tony. Son still a good long-term move. I think so, Mohamed. I don't think we can trust them on these last couple of game weeks. I think once he finds some form, should be quite good. Jack Singh saying, David, are you looking forward to Christmas? I am, because of the football. It's going to be absolutely mental. Is James going to start? I think Tanashi, I think there might be a 60% chance that he starts. I'm pretty sure that he'll be benched. Both my goalkeepers are injured. Which goalkeeper do I bring in? Budget of 5.5 million. I think you go for Ramsdale at that price point. Rafinha to Jota for free this week. Or is Rafinha going to bang this week? Gary, I think that I would probably do the Jota move. I think there is a chance that Rafinha bangs, but I mean, you're just going to have to take that on the chin. I think that Jota is a priority transfer. FPL now saying, good luck, lads. Good luck to you too, brother. Hopefully you have a good game week. Still got one free transfer. Should I save or use it? Gary, save it. I don't think there's any reason why you should use it. So I don't think he's going to play, so I probably wouldn't be looking at him. On that, Simikas is 3.9 million if you guys need a differential. Marcus, Diaz and Saka to Alonso and Gallagher for 2 free transfers. Diaz and Saka to Alonso and Gallagher. I think those moves look good. I think I'd do both of them. Hey Super Mario, confident about starting Smith Rowe over Mbeumo? I'm not confident, but I just think I trust Arsenal's attack slightly more than Brentford's attack, and that's the only reason. In a perfect world, maybe James misses out if he wasn't going to play anyways, and then Mbeumo comes off the bench. Mbeumo out for Smith Rowe. I don't think I'd do that. I think I would just place Mbeumo. Smith Rowe or King, play one. I think you should play Smith Rowe. I trust the Chelsea defense quite a lot, and that's why I've doubled up on them. Duffy or White? I would play Duffy, probably. If you don't own Sanchez, but if you own Sanchez, I wouldn't double up. Gundogan or Bernardo Silva, I'm leaning towards Gundogan from a differential point of view. And I mean, both of them are differential, but Gundogan has the highest ceiling. Tony out for Antonio for a hit. I wouldn't do that. Hwang or Mbeumo first on my bench. Put Hwang in there. Sanchez or Ramsdale, I would go with Ramsdale for the safe point kind of ceiling. Foden out for Jota, worth it. Yes, if it is going to be for free. Tony or Livermento, whom to play? Play Tony. Bench Mbuma or Gilmore? Bench Gilmore. Antonio to Wilson. I probably wouldn't do that, Rikib. I think that Wilson has a good fixtures in the next 2, but Antonio for the long term is probably better to do. As Jured's saying, time's done, guys. Unfortunately, the deadline has been struck. The transfer that we did do was Diaz to Alonso. Could backfire, could be a great transfer. I'm hoping it's going to be like a Havertz to Jota move like last week. And I'm going to be signing off. Hopefully you guys have a safe evening. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys are around the world. Actually might be Wednesday morning if you guys are absolute legends. But I'm going to be signing off. Hopefully the green arrows are in your favor. And I'll check you guys for more videos coming up in the days to come. I'm signing off. It's me, Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.